Welcome back to Mediocre Mondays. I'm Jared, and we have...
Ryan, as I was here last week.
Boom, boom, boom. That's what we're going with now. Mediocre Mondays with Ryan and Jared.
I mean, sounds good.
Sounds good to me, too. All right, topic of discussion first. What we were discussing before we started this episode today, ghosts.
Ghost, okay. So, my opinion on ghost is that they exist, but they might not. I'm just playing. I think they do exist.
Like ghosts specifically, or like demons?
Not just like so there's a difference between like demons and ghosts. Like I think ghosts are more like something that you see passively. It doesn't really affect anything, but a demon would be something that's more along the lines of like something that directly interacts with somebody. So like if you call out to now I haven't done anything like a seance or a Ouija board. I don't mess with no Ouija boards, but when you call out to something and it specifically responds to something you do or say, I think that's more leaning towards a demon than it would be a ghost. Because you can see, like, there's videos online of ghosts just, like, passing through things, not really interacting with anything. And then you see videos of things that are actually either, like, attacking people or they're doing things around people to try and scare them and kind of get them off their territory or whatever they want to call it. But I think that's the main difference between a ghost and a demon.
Okay, but you believe both exist in this realm.
Yep.
Okay, so with that being said then, ghosts as people is what I'm assuming that you believe, right?
Sure.
Like people die, they become ghosts. So how do you feel about purgatory then?
Well, here's the thing, is that I never said it had to be their soul that is their ghost.
Then what is a ghost?
Residual energy that person has exerted through their life. So like a lot of the times if you see like a haunted farmhouse, like my boss told me that he had these people, while he was working down in Florida, he had these people that were renting out an apartment that were pretty close friends to him. And the guy that used to live there, every day he would get on the front porch and shuck corn. And he would whistle and he would tap his foot and do all this other stuff every single day. While he did this, he'd shuck the corn to feed to his cattle. And they said that you could actually hear the guy sit down in his chair and the thumping of his foot, and sometimes you could hear him whistle as he was doing that. You would walk outside and there'd be nobody there. So I think if something is like a repetitive action they've done throughout their lives, eventually it will extend itself past death. Like, you know how you get like deja vu?
Oh yeah, I mean that's just a phenomenon.
Or like, see, there's things that can't be explained, like where you have dreams where you're like in a certain place, a couple days later it happens, and then you're like, I dreamed this would happen.
Yeah, but that's just subconscious though, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Alright, so here's my stance on it. Ghosts as people, no, I don't believe that. Mm-hmm. What I believe is your subconscious mind drawing imagination. Like people at night, right? Okay. People at night, scared of the dark, night terrors, some of that, you know, sleep paralysis, just whack like that. I believe that right there is just a conjuring of the subconscious to play your imagination, to either terrify you or comfort you one.
Yeah.
I believe that that's all psychological.
Yeah, because fear is a basic human instinct.
Right. So, and your subconscious will do that, stir it up in your mind and play on that, whether it's a fear, or like I said, comfort, something like that. Like shadow people. Mm-hmm. People believe that. That's a phenomenon in itself also. But I believe like shadow people, it's something mental that is being played in your mind psychologically.
Right.
That can be explained by the comfort of saying this is the phenomenon that it is. It's shadow people.
Right.
Not your mind making this up, because your mind in a rested state goes crazy itself and starts. That's the reason why you dream, you know?
Right.
You dream because your mind is resting, but it's also creating imagery from what you've seen throughout the day, what you've seen throughout your lifetime, to throw in there. Just like when you say, like, you dreamed that you were going to be here, and then you're there a couple days later. Well, subconsciously, without you knowing, you have seen that place. Maybe not straight out like this is exactly what it looked like, but you have passed it in some form, shape, or form.
Right.
Like the man that you see, that everybody sees in their dreams.
Yeah.
The man has basic features that anybody in this world pretty much can have. Okay. It's just basic features conjured up to show this man. And it's like, well, yeah, there's a ton of people that can look like that.
Yeah.
So, of course, you're going to see him, because it's just a basic makeup of everything in yourself thrown into your dreams.
Yeah. It's like a congregation of features.
Yeah, that's basic. That, you know, mainly every white dude will have some shape or form of that, you know.
Balding, mustache.
Yeah, basic round eyes.
Yeah.
Got a normal nose that everybody has. It's stuff like that your mind makes up. Right. Now, as far as purgatory goes, I believe in purgatory.
Okay.
For the basic sense of, I believe, in the Bible it says we'll all be judged on Judgment Day.
Okay.
What I believe is whenever you die, you go lay to rest, yes. But you're also, while time is passing, waiting for Judgment Day, you're thrown into whether it's another realm, whether it's something else.
Fourth dimensional.
Yeah. Something that has you there. Maybe you don't actually realize you're in purgatory. Maybe it's just a big dream like coma, to where you just zoom past to get to that. As if you were sleeping. Time just passes, you don't know. But I believe in that because it says that everybody is judged on Judgment Day. So in my mind, that goes exactly into purgatory. You die, you go into waiting. Okay. Like waiting in this line. Right. To get judged. I believe that's an actual real thing.
First let me bring up this. I think, now that I've kind of heard you talk about that, what if, like, when you die, if you do go to heaven, or like if you're judged right then and there, if you do die, and what if in heaven it's almost like a replication of Earth, except there's no hunger, there's no sadness, there's none of the bad things that come with Earth.
Well, there's also that theory that...
So you're like projecting, it's like almost projecting yourself doing that. And somebody that's been repetitive doing that their whole life, it'll eventually show up.
And I hear you on that. Well, there's also that theory that we're already in hell. You know, there's people starving, you go through trauma, you go through problems, you also have your ups and your downs. There's that theory that this is already hell and we're just here serving our time. But that's where I stand. That's where I stand on purgatory. I believe that, and you could also support that with like what you're saying, like you believe ghosts, right? Right. Well, they're in a different dimension per se, but they're here, translucent, into this other dimension, whatever, and they're here and present. You could use you saying ghosts are real to saying, yeah, purgatory is real. It's all justifiable in a sense of whatever you believe. And beliefs are just exactly that. You have your set of principles, I have my set of principles. You have your beliefs, I have my beliefs. Everybody's different on that in a sense. Right. Now, demons, 100%. I definitely absolutely believe demons are real. Yep. Yeah.
You think angels can come down? Like if we're going off like Christian theology.
Angels and demons, I definitely 100% believe in 100%, because angels, they're just like with the preset of demons, they're the dark angels from Satan and Lucifer, what I'm saying? They're that, just like you have your angels up in heaven already that were already preset in the Bible. That was like, you got your David's and all that stuff, and everything of that. You have them already preset. You have God's angels and you have Lucifer's angels. I definitely believe that. Just like I believe, I used to have whenever I was in high school, I used to have the Encyclopedia of Demonology that had the full set of the encyclopedia of every demon that there was. That was either mentioned in the Bible or that has also been thought up, through Greek mythology, all the mythologies that there are. Right. You have those. And I was heavy into that, hardcore. Because that's something that always intrigued me, Right. I wanna look at this, I wanna study it, I wanna know it. Yeah. Now as far as am I Catholic? No, I'm not. But do I believe some of the Catholic principles? Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, absolutely.
That's where it kind of falls under a denomination umbrella.
Yeah, well, see, and that's the thing. I believe in purgatory. Yeah. Well, Catholicism believes in purgatory. Every other pretty much denomination of Christianity, Baptist, Church of Christ, people like those, they don't believe in purgatory. They don't believe in you're set and you're either judged immediately or you're judged immediately when you die. Yeah. And that's where my basic beliefs start falling apart from those denominations. Right. Because in my mind, it's making sense, and that's how I make sense of it.
Yeah. And some of the stuff is completely up to interpretation. That's why you have different denominations.
Yeah. Well, see, I'll read something in Scripture, and then you'll read something in Scripture. We'll have two separate opinions on it through comprehension and everything else. Right.
And that could be with any religious text.
Well, and that's where kind of the organized religion. That's kind of where it starts to fall apart because you have this one preacher that goes through Scripture and he says this. Well, then you go to another one, which it could be another denomination or the same one. Yeah. And he reads it and will tell you preach on it on a Sunday and say something totally different. Right. It's just that's just to me, it is a book of rules and principles to follow to have a great life. Right. That's basically what I follow. Mm-hmm. And
anything that's structured like that.
Exactly.
It works for different people. So
exactly.
The Torah works for the Jewish people. The Quran works for Muslims. I hope I'm getting this right.
Yeah, you're right.
The Bible is good for Christian people, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So anything that allows structure towards a daily lifestyle, or certain things that you have to follow. There's the Old Testament with the Ten Commandments, which is part of the Torah, and there's I think there's New Commandments in the New Testament,
which is from the Bible itself.
And so that's what most Christians follow nowadays, unless I think it's just the Jews that follow strictly the Old Testament.
Well, you have Seventh-day Adventists too.
Yeah. And then do they follow strictly the Old Testament?
As far as, they actually, I'm not too intense on this, so don't take me 100% to heart and be what Jared says.
This is all opinions.
What Jared says goes. No, they don't eat meat. They're vegan 100%. Mm-hmm. Now, as far as the religion and stuff that they follow, I believe they follow the Old Testament. Right. So, as far as that goes, I believe their Old Testament just as well as Judaism is Old Testament.
Mm-hmm. And then, like I said, it allows structure for people.
Well, you take exactly say the Bible.
You install these morals from any of these books into a kid, and that kid doesn't grow up to be a radical in any sense of this. They're set for a good, structured, civil attitude.
Exactly. And you take the laws of what the Bible, what the Quran, what all of them have, right? Mm-hmm. Throw them into federal regulations and laws. They correspond with each other. Yeah. It's basically a set of human rights and rules to follow.
They're basically don't be an ass to anybody.
Exactly. They go off of the golden rule: respect and treat others the way that you want to be respected and treated. Mm-hmm. And that's basically what they all say. They just have a different set of It's hard to say this because you're going.
You know, it's hard to follow that rule sometimes, man. Especially if somebody's popping off at you.
Well, it's hard to also say talking about other religions is similar to your religion because you're going to also hear crap from people that follow your religion or follow another religion, and they're just going to clash on it, and they're like, no, that's not right.
It's because people take like those...
The open-mindedness is the thing that you have to be to actually take these principles and actually see them for what they actually are.
A lot of people will take what their denomination or their religion or whatever, they'll take it as a personal trait rather than them coalescing with a bigger congregate of what...
And yes.
Or congregation.
And take that and look at the world today. And that's the reason why there's war. That's the reason why there's, you know, that's the reason why
oil.
Yeah, you know, like I seen this thing that was like BP saying, look at your carbon footprint or take this quiz and look at your carbon footprint and take the first steps today. And this one person was like, well, my carbon footprint says I didn't dump millions of gallons of oil into the Gulf of Mexico. Yeah. And
they're never going to live that down.
No, it's not. And when they try to take another stance on it, it's just not the case, you know. But
you had to get Dove in there, clean up all them ducks, man.
Dawn, man.
Dawn, same difference. Dove, Dawn, Daybed, same difference.
Yeah, but that's the thing. That's the reason why there's war and everything, because you have radical everything. Mm-hmm. People that take everything and they take it to heart and they're like embedded with it, and I'm going to live with it, and this is it.
This is my personal trait.
Yeah, you try to tell me anything different, you try to have a different opinion on anything.
You're attacking me personally.
Yeah, and that's not right. And because of that, I'm going to go do all these terrorist type deals and just run with it, and I'm going to get this coalition of people together, and we're taking everybody that doesn't agree with me down.
Or like that one church that likes to stand out in public and call out gay people for like...
Yeah, what is that? Like Cornerstone or something like that?
I don't know. It was something like Westeros.
Yeah.
Or some W word, but they'll stand out and they'll
I know
tell people like they're going to die, they're going to burn in hell.
Yeah.
Like all this other stuff, like... If you read the Bible, it says, like, especially if you go off Christianity, only if you go off Christianity or something like that. Something like that.
It's something like that.
But God says, He's like, I don't hate the person. I just don't like what they're doing. I hate
the sin.
I don't like what they're doing.
Yes.
But, like, I gave them that choice.
Yeah. It's
up to them what they want to do. And that's how you got to live. Because, like, if I tell you can't do something, you're not going to like me.
Yeah.
And that's what the whole bad rep from them comes from. If you just look at it and you're like, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. I don't think what you're doing is right, but I'm not going to tell you can't do it because I'm not you.
Exactly. And that's where people start getting stuff wrong. Mm-hmm. Now, like on the topics of like abortion and stuff like that. Yeah. Do I agree with abortion? I'm going to be straight up honest with you. No, I don't. Mm-hmm. But I also get the part of like what you're saying. You know, people go and do stuff all the time, right. And the thing is, I do wrong also, you know. But the thing is you have your own beliefs. You go do it. I'm not going to hate you forever for that. There's a sin is a sin. Mm-hmm. So I tell you a lie, it's the same as anything else. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter. It just is what it is. And to me, it's better to be forgiving and whatever have you. It's your life. Mm-hmm. You do you. But I don't, you know, it's like that saying, no uterus, no opinion.
Yeah, sure.
That's where I stand on it.
Yeah. I mean, because I'll look at some of these like social stuff that's going on, and sure, I don't agree with it. We're a democracy. I can vote to say I don't agree with it. But should that really stop other people?
Well, okay, like the law that just got passed
this
week.
Clearly, stuff that's like murder.
Yeah,
is like a different. Well, is like a different.
Anything that violates human rights.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, that's just like the law that got passed.
Or like
today.
Stealing, like some of the basic like don't do this kind of stuff. Like where I'm gonna vote to be like don't murder people.
Well, you want to talk about voting? This is what okay. The law got passed. Anyone that is under 21 cannot buy tobacco now.
Right. Well,
and people want to say, well, if you can't do that, then how is it okay for somebody at 18 to go fight my wars?
Yeah.
And I'm on the same page, and I'm like, okay, Well, if you're going to do that, why is it okay? Why is that not okay? But you can give people the huge... You think that they're old enough to be able to... Yeah, play the lottery, go vote.
Have a full driver's license.
Have a full opinion to vote. Yeah. Can go fight wars. And you start thinking of this, and
can
it's
gamble, can do all this other stuff.
It's not right. If they're able to do, first off, those two major things, vote and go fight a war.
Yeah.
Why can't they smoke tobacco? Why can't they drink? Why can't they, why can't they have the decision to do that, but they can have those two major ones?
Yeah. And
you start looking at it, everything is flawed in the position of whoever's in power to be able to gain power for themselves. And that's just, I don't agree with that.
I think what they're trying to do is that they see all these, so you got a kid that was held back a grade, started late, or failed a grade in high school. They're 18, senior year. All these little freshman kids being like, can you give me some Joel Pods? Who's going to stop them? If an 18-year-old walks into
senior year,
I'm just, did you start late or did you have an early birthday?
I had a late birthday. That's why I started late.
But
genius though.
I started. I have a birthday in June, so I had to start the semester after that.
Right, you started.
So I was already like such age when I went in there, and I turned 18 after I graduated.
Yeah.
So, but what's going to stop an 18-year-old from walking into a gas station, walking out with Joel Pods? Next day at school, they give them to somebody for $20.
I'm going to tell you what I believe is going to happen. Anybody that's 18, they're going to wind up, somebody's going to just be like, yeah, I'll buy this for you. Because last week you were able to, and now you can't.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be seen almost...
Well, you can, actually. The FDA has 180 days to implement it into their new policy, and then 30 days for people to pick up and enforce it.
Okay, so this time next year,
yeah,
you could buy these last week,
yeah,
but you can't now.
Right.
And that's going to start sort of like the speakeasies and stuff like that. Whenever they implemented prohibition.
Like somebody is just going to be like somebody's dad's not going to care. Somebody's mom's not going to care.
Well,
somebody's older cousin is not going to care. They're going to get stuff for this person. It's going to get passed down to the 18-year-old, and then the 18-year-old's going to give it to somebody else.
And the major difference is smoking's not going to have the effects of what alcohol has.
Mm-hmm.
So you buying, say I was 18, I'm like, hey Ryan, can you go to the store and grab me some smokes?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you're not going to die while you're not under the influence. You're smoking a cigarette.
Right.
So the repercussions from buying tobacco versus buying alcohol are far less.
Mm-hmm.
So there's going to be no way that you're in trouble for doing that.
Yeah.
So people are just going to easily say, I'll buy you some of these, man.
Yeah.
They're $10 though.
Because so I used to vape, and so what I got from that was I didn't have any other health. Like I did it for a year straight, almost all day, and eventually it got to that point, and then but the only thing that I really got was that if I didn't brush my teeth morning and night, I would get little tonsil stones, and I mean they're not bad. It wasn't like my mouth looked like a beehive.
Well, also, did you also get respiratory infections too?
Mm-mm.
See, or bronchitis or anything like that?
Mm-mm.
See, that was the thing that happened to me.
You gotta keep it clean. People are jumping in, getting all these things. They're waiting until there's a lot of stuff about it. There's a lot of knowledge you have to know, especially for the bigger mods. Little Joel Pods, people run them till they're dry, and that's not good. Because what happens is, the whole fundamental of it is that you have a tank, right? And you have an opening in the tank and an air valve at the bottom. In the tank goes a coil, which is a little piece of metal that's spun around like a spring.
It's just like anything. Don't run it empty.
And then
like a fuel pump on a car.
Yeah, it forces, or it's got cotton. It forces the cotton against the walls, and then as you put juice around the coil, it soaks into the cotton. Once you press that little button, it sends electricity through that wire,
And
intentionally shorts it, and then and heats it up so that way it produces vapor.
Right.
So, and the only thing people want to talk about secondhand smoke from cigarettes, that is dangerous. It's been proven to be dangerous. Secondhand smoke from vapes is simply water vapor. And the only two main ingredients that are in vape juice are artificial flavoring. Well, that's one of the three, but it's artificial flavoring, propylene glycol, and vegetable glycerin.
And nicotine.
Yeah, and nicotine.
Which is the addictiveness.
Yeah, which only comes in like, unless you get like a salt nicotine thing, it comes at like most like a 0.9.
Yeah, but I do have to say this. Nicotine itself, stuff like that, the 0.9, that is extremely potent. Mm-hmm. Because I believe it was, I can't remember the exact, but if you smoke like 10 cigarettes like at a time, okay?
Right.
10 or 20 cigarettes, like a whole pack, you had it wrapped up, you lit them all up and smoked it. Mm-hmm. And it had to be at the same time simultaneously, just because they put so little nicotine in there.
Right.
Nicotine itself is very fatal. It's almost like fentanyl. Mm-hmm. About how potent it is and how little you need.
Yeah, no,
but it all has to be in the same time. It's not like a cumulative.
If you have a potent enough vape juice on your skin for too long, you can get acute nicotine poisoning.
Oh, absolutely.
Which can lead to more health things. Yeah. So what I did when I had to change out the coil, that's another thing. People will run their coils until they taste like burnt marshmallows. That's bad. You're getting that burnt cotton in your mouth, and that's just as bad as smoking the paper off the cigarettes.
Yes, artificial.
So if you try to keep it if you do it right and you don't screw it up, it works. It just works. But basically, people will, like, when I changed out my coil, which you have to do semi-regularly, I would take paper towels and I would lay them down. And then I would get 2 rubber gloves, and that's how I would change it out. I wouldn't go in with just my hands because there's no reason to. There's no reason to be like, because if it does get on your fingers, because I've gotten it on there before, it's oily.
Oh, and
it'll like, it's because of the vegetable glycerin.
Yeah.
Or the vegetable glycol.
Yeah.
Or no, it's vegetable glycerin, propylene glycol, and but it like rubs in your finger like oil. So what people are getting from is they'll smoke these jewel pods, or they'll run their vape until it is bone dry. Then they'll get stuff that's not supposed to come out of the vape into their lungs. And plus, people are using dab pen mods. They're getting dabs are, for anyone that doesn't know, is a high concentration of THC. It's in a wax form. And people are putting it into little tanks on smaller vapes. It's like a yellowish juice. Not all yellow juice in vapes are dab pens, but some of them are. Some of them are modded specifically for that high THC stuff. And people are putting that in there, and that's like 80%. Smoking a joint is only like, it's a way lower percent than that. So they're taking all this in at once, and it's such a high potency, and it's like a thick, waxy substance. It's getting on their lungs. It's coating it. So you got, like,
and they get propylene glycol toxicity.
Right. Which propylene glycol is the main ingredient in antifreeze. Not to say that antifreeze is in vape juice.
Well, see, for my job, for loop systems, to keep the freeze point of the water, I have to pump in glycol into loops. So that's the reason why I was looking it up here, because I'm like, I deal with glycol all the time. They talk about how bad it is for you to smell it as far as in its natural, not mixed in form. But how bad it is for you to ingest it just in general, get it on your hands.
You're not, by no means are you supposed to drink vape juice.
Yeah. Well, anybody would do that. It's kind of like the Tide Pod people,
I mean,
but yeah, you get, sepsis-like syndrome, which rough. Acute kidney injury. But, metabolic. Yes. Gosh. Metabolic acidosis, which is lactic acid buildup, which is why you get that. But this is just for I guess people that ingest glycol. But yeah, the glycol is what I deal with to keep freeze points at loops. That way in the wintertime they don't freeze and bust pipes. So that's the reason why I was looking it up.
A lot of things will come, they'll come at ratios, and the ratio, like if you went to a vape shop today and you were like, I want to get something fruity with like a 60-40 16 or 6%. The 60-40 means it's 60% vegetable glycol, 40% propylene glycol. Yeah, vegetable glycerin.
And propylene
glycol is the 40%. You can go higher, where I think the highest is like an 80-20, and it's supposed to be the more vegetable glycerin you have in there, the smoother it is.
Well, vegetable glycerin is what? Essentially vegetable sugars? Yeah, I figure that's what it was. But no, I've never tried vaping. I tried for about a month when I was like 17, junior. Me and my friend, he had those menthol cigarettes, which were the Camel lights that you would crack to get the spearmint or whatever, and you'd smoke it. I tried for about a month with those, and for some reason, and I wasn't trying to get addicted, but for some reason, I never got addicted to it. But during that time, I got bronchitis once, and I got upper respiratory infection once. And that was just because also I had football practice during the middle of winter. So doing that exposed my lungs and respiratory system to open up to be, susceptible to getting that type stuff. Just because we were outside in the middle of winter running. And here I am smoking cigarettes, going. But no, I never once got addicted to it. And that's something surprising because I typically have an addictive personality. That's the reason why I like working out wise. I crave it because I crave the dopamine effect from it. Whatever.
When you
whatever
rack
comes
it, like
from
I was talking about earlier, when you finally rack it up, it's like a rush. You get like this. You get like this micro accomplishment. It's really good for people like me who have extremely short attention spans. So if I'm not constantly doing something or something's not going on, I'll lose interest.
Oh, speaking of, by the way, how was your first workout today with me?
I liked it. It was fun. When we stopped running on the treadmill, I'm gonna be honest, I thought I was like moving forward because the incline from where it was at like 5%, because I didn't want to run because I don't know how to run on a treadmill and I was stomping, where it turned it back down to 0 when I was done.
Yeah, you were used to leaning forward, running up the hill.
And my feet were used to, like, instead of walking flat, going like this and then bending up, they were going like this.
Right.
So, like, I was tricking myself into, like, leaning forward, almost. But it didn't feel that drastic until I stopped. So
I hear you. But
I learned a lot of stuff about form, a lot of muscle groups to run into, a lot of different stuff today. Very, very productive day.
Yeah, you'll just you open up the encyclopedia in my mind, by the way. All that stuff right there. You were asking questions, I was looking, I was like, encyclopedia going. By the way,
like the guy from The Hangover, where he's got like the numbers in front of him, like Rain Man.
Like Rain Man.
Yeah,
dude. You open up the encyclopedia, I was just running with it. That's the reason why I guess I created the YouTube channel that we have too, just because of the fact I'm like, I've got so much right here, but Megan gets so aggravated with me, so I've got to like have this output for people to hear me.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I've got all this knowledge, let's run with it. And then you were like, yeah, I'll go with you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes.
Yeah, because I know virtually nothing.
Exactly. And it's like freaking grasshopper over here. I'm like, let me teach you everything I know.
Yeah, and I think from like an audience perspective, if people don't know much about fitness and then come to our channel for information, they can relate to me more, but people that know a little bit more about it, they can relate to you more. They can fact check you, they can give you tips, you can give them tips, so on and so forth. people that don't know anything about it, they come to me, they're like, this guy's learning it. He knows nothing about it. He just started today, so I can do it.
Yeah, you're working the foundation up now. You're working because you got brand new, the knowledge. You're still a novice.
Right.
So everything's right there. As far as they see this guy that has built something for the past 3 to 4 years, that is sculpting it, seeing what's going to happen with it, that's experienced. And then they also have this preset of a guy with foundation right here.
Yeah, I'm the lab rat.
And it's like, let's see this guy's transformation from the experience. What's he going to uncover? What's he going to look like? And then we got you that's like, we're going to see what you can do. Let's see the newbie gains. Let's see how nutrition affects. Just this whole preset. They have 2 presets. That's a good point to bring up, by the way. That's pretty good to see it, because it's just, you got 2 different people right here that is going to be just so informative, so exciting, great content.
Yeah, it's 2 such different perspectives on it, but coalescing into one.
Exactly.
So
and that's what I think is going to be the unique attractiveness to our channel, because every successful YouTuber is like, you got to have that one thing that people come to and have like this, just want to keep watching.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, looks like we just figured it out. So I mean, yeah, that's gonna go.
Hopefully.
I want to touch back on a question with you though. Back to our first topic about ghosts.
Okay.
Do you believe in possession?
Oh, that's a tough one. I'm not gonna lie. I think a lot of the times, is that? No, that's not raised. It's just perspective.
We continue with the question now.
Okay, but
stop looking at my computer.
I'm sorry. I told you guys I have a short attention span. It's tough because there's cases that have been reported where it just turned out the kid was having a temper tantrum. And
are you referring to the Exorcist story?
Yeah, kind of. And there's also been cases to where it could not be explained. Legitimate paranormal stuff happened, like girls floating out of their beds, people experiencing things that were actually legitimately recorded by an outsider. That was like, okay, this legit happened. There was no BS behind it. Nobody did something off camera. I was there. I'm a skeptic, and I didn't believe until now. So it's tough to say whether. Well, let me say this: some are legitimate, some are clout fiends. If you go on YouTube and you find somebody like Logan Paul putting out like best friend possessed, check out how we deal with it.
Who is that one girl?
Clout chaser.
Something Lane, I think. She is all the time just talking about how she's experienced Loey Lane. Oh my gosh.
Loey Lane?
Yes, Loey Lane. Oh my gosh.
5 creepy videos linked to unsolved cases.
She had this one video that my wife was watching. She was legit like, I just felt that coldness.
Yeah.
And like that. And she's like, oh my gosh. And I'm like,
I think a lot of that stuff too is like
she cold-heartedly believes that her apartment that she lives in is haunted. She believes everything that happens to her has to be because of a ghost, because of it's not explainable except for that. And these people on BuzzFeed, I don't know.
The BuzzFeed videos are kind of fun.
But she had they had the BuzzFeed, how they do like the haunted stuff and all that.
Yeah.
They went into her apartment and everything, and they went in one at a time, and they were kind of undisclosed, making fun of her. Like they were just making mad fun of her. Yeah. It's just not so aggressive and right in your face.
Yeah.
It was unwritten.
Okay.
The part of I was like, oh my gosh, this. And I know for 100% fact when she watched the video, she didn't even realize it.
Yeah.
She didn't even realize it.
I love the BuzzFeed ghost videos, especially the Goat Man, the bridge.
Yeah, I like those videos a lot. Whenever they have that series go up, I'm always watching it.
Have you seen the one where the guy that's a skeptic? There's like this flashlight turning off and on the countertop, and the guy's like, ah! The guy that believes in it, and the other guy's like, do it now, and he cuts off, and he's like,
that was the Loey Lane one.
Really?
That was the Loey Lane one.
Oh,
yes.
That's hilarious.
Yes, and all I could think this whole time was these dudes.
He was like,
yeah.
He looks around, and the guy's like in the corner, like.
Yeah, dude. It was, yeah.
I love their personalities, man. That's so funny.
I do too. I feel like I would definitely be like the one that was like, show yourself. Because I'm such a skeptic to it myself, and I'm like I don't believe it. But if something were to happen, I'd be just like that.
Did you see it? Did you see it happen?
You see my hood right now? Dude, you know.
What was I going to say? Now, just a quick throwback to the question. I do believe that angels come down and they can influence people into be like, this is a bad idea, don't do it. Because my dad, when he was a kid, he was going to get on his brother's motorcycle. And he was like, we'll say this is like back in the 70s, maybe early 80s. Probably the 70s. He's born in 66. So he was by like 78, he was 12. That would have been something a 12-year-old would have done. So he goes out to the garage behind his mom's house where his brother kept his motorcycle, and he's about to walk back there, and there's this short pathway that's
I've heard this story,
between the building and the wooded area next to him that divides the property line. Mm-hmm. And he said this white glowing figure just appeared right in front of him. And him and his brother, his twin brother, were so scared that they didn't even go get on his other brother's bike. They just went inside and they were like, it must have been divine intervention. As though someone was saying, this is a bad idea.
Don't do it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think certain things can happen like that, but that also could coincide with like the whole, your entire life is mapped out, and if you try to sway from it, something's going to happen. So,
well, let me tell you a ghost story that I had.
That's a big question. Is some people believe in the illusion of free choice?
Well, let me. I believe it. Yeah, although they're like, God knows what you're going to do and this and that, but it's like he also gives you. I think it's like, what was that game that was out like 2015 or something? I can't remember, but it was a movie essentially, and it gave you the option. You've seen signs of like a butterfly and this Indian. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. I can't remember the name of the game, but I had it. But it's like
The Last of Us?
No, not Last of Us. Not.
Is it like a telltale story like that?
It's a telltale story, yeah. But it gave you options and like you can do this or this and this and influence you for what's to happen.
Yeah, this will affect your destiny in the top corner.
Yeah, I think it's sort of like that. Like he's like, you got free choice, but you know, like butterfly effect. It's gonna go this way or it's gonna go this way.
I think I know what you're talking about. I can see like snapshots of it in my mind.
Yes. PewDiePie played it.
Yeah.
I can't think of the name of it. I never can. But no, I think it's like this. It's like it can go one or two ways, you know.
Yeah.
But let me tell you about the ghost story while you're looking up the name of that. Okay, so back whenever I was 16 or 17, I can't remember. Okay, 17, definitely 17. Yeah. So me and my friend one night, we were just messing around. I found this black magic book that my dad had whenever he was like in high school. Yeah. Okay, I found it.
Is it Until Dawn?
Yes,
Until Dawn.
But I found this black magic book. Okay, and it's like how to like conjure this and that. Okay, yeah. So we were trying to conjure something up just to see if it's like BS or if it's like for real, you know. So,
yeah, Nukem Dukem played it too. I don't know who he is, but
all right. So we decided to do this seance, okay? Not even crapping you, okay? Not even bull crapping you. at all. We decided to do the seance, so we got everything together. It was like, make a list of this and this and this, and, you know, get some twig or something, whatever, put it in a bowl, light that piece of paper on fire, let it go in the ashes, then, you know, within so and so hours, it'll come true, or something like that. And I was like, okay, let's do this. So we did it. Then I had my webcam out on my computer, my little HP computer that did like maybe 480p on the front cam.
Yeah, I remember those days.
Yeah. So
I took
went
selfies
with that.
for Facebook off my laptop.
Yeah, so did like every middle-aged man too.
I took.
They were like this. All of them were like.
If something was on my desk, I would take the laptop and I'd be like, and I'd try and just struggle to click it.
Yeah, but it was like every middle-aged dude during that time. The picture was like.
Yeah.
Looking down at it. But we were like, we're just going to videotape. We're like, let's see what happens. So all the lights were out except for the light on the camera and everything, you know, whatever. Blah, 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 blah. Well, my dad had to also get up to he's a truck driver. So he had to get up at like 1 o'clock in the morning to get ready for his route. It's always unscheduled, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, we already knew that, okay? So about 12:30, we hear something. Right? We hear something bang, whatever. So, what I was just doing, like, well, my dad's up early, you know. He's usually like, he's got to be in at 2. He's up at 1:50 getting ready to make it there. So, we opened up my door and we both peeked out. And when we peeked out, I swear to you, we saw this huge ass thing. Don't even know, but it was in the door frame of where my parents' master bedroom was. And we saw this big ass thing, not even kidding, big black, I couldn't tell you, it was just this big black massive object just right there. And we were like, oh shit. And you know, we shut the door real quick and we locked the door and everything and just cut it out for like the rest of the night. We had all the lights on though and just whatever. Well, then stuff started happening. Not even kidding you. Of course.
Is that at your old house?
Yeah, my old house.
Yeah.
That we moved out of soon after that.
Somebody lived there now?
Yeah, somebody lives there now.
Whoa.
But
good luck to them.
After all that, the whole energy of the house was just flipped upside down. There was no more good energy. Like every time you went in there, just the energy wasn't right. All right.
Yeah.
But
like you felt like something else was there.
There was bad energy.
Yeah. There
was very bad. And what we would do is when everything was going on,
you gotta say did you do like a sage burning kind of thing?
Yeah, well no. Well, eventually, yeah, my mom's big into that. So yeah, we did. Just because it was so bad. Like I'm not even kidding.
Did you tell your parents about it?
Oh, I told my mom 100%.
Oh, damn.
After, like, about 2 months.
My mom would have been like, this is your fault. You got to take care of it, man.
Well, all of this happened also while my parents were actually in the middle of a divorce, too.
Yeah.
So it was a rough time anyways.
Yeah. So like the least of her worries was like
it was let's get plans together for what's going to happen forward. You know,
supernatural figure in her house.
But that was also I just started Pizza Hut too, and I just met your sister by the way.
Yeah.
And we were just getting going, but I would. First off, the night that I came home from Pizza Hut after I was stupid and. While in the middle of, I was on cut table, cutting the pizzas and everything, getting them ready.
Too.
Yeah, the pan pizza comes out in the pan. You grab the pan with the little whatever doohickey. You got to do that, and then if it goes out, you got to put it into the other one.
Yeah.
Well, what I did was I put it on the table, cut it, put it back in that pan, took the pan like this. And just set it down, ready to send out. Didn't even realize it. Then I was like, that pan's right there. That's a cool pan. And then I burnt my hands. And I was like, what?
But so you burnt your... Oh, you picked up the one that was in the oven.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and just set it down, ready to go out. Didn't even realize it. Then, oh, crap. But that night, I slept, for one, I slept in another room. But I slept with 2 cans of Mountain Dews right there in my hands because I was like, oh, this is the only way I'm not hurting. But
Did you not have aloe?
No, we tried Megan went with me to CVS, and we got like this burn cream type crap. Didn't do crap, by the way. But
my mom keeps an aloe vera plant at her house. That's a smart idea.
She's always like, "You got a sunburn? Let's tear off a leaf and wipe it on right there." But during the middle of that night, when I was sleeping, I seen in my dreams right behind my door, I saw this big black object again, but this time it had a hat. Okay, a hat. And when you look it up online, they call it the Hat Man.
Okay.
And it's
very straightforward there.
Yeah. They call him the Hat Man, and it's some like demonic thing that comes to pretty much kill you in your sleep. Okay. So I was like, "Whoa, forget that." So I started sleeping on the couch with my dogs. Okay. I started sleeping on the couch. Well, I guess it conjured up or whatever. I don't know. I never went back into that room, by the way, after that night. But I had a dream catcher that was on the wall. Somehow it got tore off, totally destroyed, off the wall.
Ooh, I got a good story to tell you after this one.
Well, that got off the wall. And then also, I locked that door, by the way. Not even crapping you, okay? I locked that door. And then I was sleeping on the couch. My mom was up in the morning with this was like 3 months down the road, okay? I was up in the morning with what was soon to be my stepdad. He was up in the kitchen with my mom. We were still in that house. I was sleeping on the couch. Well, I woke up to the loudest slamming door, and it was down the hall. My parents, well, my mom and my stepdad had thought that I got up, and I went in that room and just slammed the door. I guess, I don't know, but
kid.
Yeah. Well, I woke up and I was like, "What's going on?" And they come out from where the kitchen was, and they're like, "We thought that was you." No, that locked door was slammed, and it was still locked.
Whoa.
Yeah, and
No.
yeah. So from there, we got out of that house because me and your sister, we were on a date night at my house also, and we were watching The Exorcist because I was like, this is the scariest movie of all time. Let's watch it. Well, during the middle of that, there was bangs and everything going on in that back room, and she can speak for it too. She was like, that was going on, and we didn't know. Well, pretty soon, we got out of that house, no longer living there anymore. There was so bad energy and stuff there, but we never went back there. And that's my ghost story.
Okay, I got one. It wasn't at my house, fortunately, but I went to a sleepover when I was 15, maybe 16. But the sleepover was pretty fun. The guy that we were it was his birthday party. I had fallen asleep on the couch, and I used to have a widow's peak. Okay, I used to have one that was right here, but you can kind of tell when I move my eyebrows up where it would have.
Oh
been.
Yeah, I see it.
But they shaved it off. They just straight up.
Is that all you had to do?
Yeah,
because I hate this.
They just straight up shaved it off, and then it grew back. And then the next year, I went to sleep at his house again. They shaved it off and then slapped me in the face with a hot dog until I woke up. And they had my, I don't know. I thought
this was gonna be a ghost story, right?
I'm not friends with them anymore. But let me get on past that. So anyways,
he slapped you with wieners and shaved your widow's peak.
Yeah, I know. So, but I didn't hang out with him after that. But
well,
basically, the first time that we had the sleepover for his birthday, the majority of the guys slept in one room, and some of them were sleeping on the floors. And I was like, "Do you have a guest room I could stay in?" And the guy was like, "Yeah, it's just across the hallway." So I went and I slept in that room, and I fell asleep around. It was like midnight, sometime around there, and I fell asleep alone. Okay, and that's important for later, not because of a ghost, but because somebody else weird, something happened. But around 3 o'clock in the morning, I wake up and I'm on my back and I cannot move. And then I can start to move, like my neck starts to move, and then I can start moving my hands, and I'm fine. I rolled over. So like if I was laying on my back, I roll over to the side. I was laying on. If you're looking at the bed, I was laying on the left side. So I roll over towards the side of the bed, and I start to go back to sleep until I hear this like light. And then I roll back over on my back, and I look up waiting for somebody to come to the door, and I was like, hello? And as soon as I did that, a black mist came out of a dream catcher flowing down the wall, and then it hit this, like it interacted with things. There was this little nightstand that sat just below it with a flower in a vase. It went past the flower, off the counter of the thing, and went onto the floor, and then something rose up at the foot of the bed. It was just this black, it was like a black figure, except it had 4 arms.
You were sleep paralysis, weren't you?
No. I could move.
Oh, like lucid dreaming then.
I know. I was awake too, because I could roll over and I heard things and I could speak. And I was fully awake. I could feel. Like I was completely conscious, but it formed at the foot of the bed, and then I sat still like this and stared forward and kept it at my peripherals, and then when it started to move, I started looking at it, and it came to the corner of the bed and stood right there and didn't move for 5 solid minutes. And I just laid there like this.
Some type like paranormal activity, like crazy.
I did not move, dude. And I didn't want to close my eyes either, because I was like, as soon as I close my eyes, this thing's gonna get me. Wow. So I'm sitting there like this, trying like not to move, so that way it doesn't like, because that was my first instinct, is just don't move. And don't close your eyes, don't speak, don't breathe, don't do anything. Just calmly, just in your nose, out your mouth kind of stuff. But eventually it just popped like a bubble, and then it glistened away, and then the dream catcher, all the strings came detached out of it, and it fell off. The circle's still on the wall, but the strings just fell out of the dream catcher.
Yeah. And
the feathers, they were glued on there, because in the morning I looked and there was hot glue spots. They had also fallen off, like ripped out. And before I woke up, or before I checked that, I wake up and, like I said, I fell asleep alone. And when this happened, I was alone. When I wake up, there was another guy sleeping in the bed next to me, and he was staring at me when I woke up. And he was like, "Good morning, Ryan." And I was like, "I'm going home." And I never spent the night there again. I don't even talk to the guy.
Was it the owner of the? Was it the dude that lived there?
Yeah.
Oh.
Or no, it wasn't the dude that lived there, but it was one of the guys that was at the party.
Oh, okay.
I don't talk to him either, but it was so weird, because at 3, that means sometime between 3 o'clock in the morning, and when I woke up at 7 for church, he came in there completely quiet, laid down next to me, and then was awake before I was to say good morning.
Tough.
Look, it was weird, dude. I always had like weird vibes from that room, because it was dead quiet, and there were no lights in there. They didn't have even a bedside light. The only light, like even the like ceiling light, it had no bulbs in it, and it was like one of these like light fixtures that just like sits on top of it, but the cover was off and the bulbs were out. There were no bedside lamps. There was nothing in there. The only light that you could get was that if the sun was on outside, the sun was out.
I know what you're saying.
Outside, and it was peering through the windows. And even then, they had like the curtains tilted up or the blinds tilted up and the curtains closed.
So it's almost like a gotcha room.
Yeah, I know. And I was like, I can see why nobody else wanted to sleep in here, because friggin' doing demonic rituals in here probably got a whole board under the bed being like, I'll get him tonight if he moves or he talks. If he says something, just stab him with your ghost tentacles. But it had, okay, have you ever watched Ben 10?
Yeah, I have.
You know, Forearms, the red alien?
Yeah.
It looked exactly like that, except it had no eyes, no face, no nothing. Just 4 arms jutting out.
So it's like
and then it laid to the side.
So it was like the imagery of the character with the question mark on it, like in Pokemon. Just a black shadow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a character that hadn't unlocked yet.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's rough. Heard good stories today.
Yeah.
If you guys are still listening, we're about an hour in, so I guess we can start to wrap up today's episode.
Yeah.
Today's episode, I thought, was by far the best episode that I think we've had.
Yeah, I think it's becoming more natural.
Yeah, and plus, I mean, topics just... We didn't have any hard segues.
Yeah.
They were all smooth right into the discussion,
right.
It went well. So, by far, best episode, and I think, really, we're only getting better from where we were. Mm-hmm. We're only gaining traction.
Yeah, because we're getting a little bit more comfortable in front of the camera, in front of the microphone.
Right.
So on and so forth.
All right, no video sponsors today, except for go follow, if you're listening on podcast or anything, go to YouTube to Mediocre Fit. There you'll catch the podcast, but also other than the podcast, it's only fitness stuff, informational stuff, workouts, motivationals. If you're into that, check us out. Watch some of our content. Give us a follow. Like, comment, subscribe. You can follow me on Instagram at J_MAYSE. You can follow the channel and the podcast at officialmediocrefit. Ryan, you want to plug any of yours in?
Yeah, I mean, my username for Instagram is kind of rough. It's a.stro_boy. So it's like Astro Boy with a period. Stro Boy.
He had to make it that way. He was able to have.
I looked up the guy that took the name Astro Boy, and I was like, "I'll pay you for this account." He was like, 200 rupees, and I was like, "No,
ooh,
I'm not taking that." He didn't even text it to me. He said it through voice. I was like,
"That's firm, dude.
Is your keyboard broke?"
That's how you know it's firm.
Did he think I was gonna screenshot it and be like, "Hey, anybody that wants this name is 200 rupees."
Yeah.
I mean, that's not a lot to American cash, but I wouldn't get I'm not transferring over money.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, you can also follow the channel at 2 Mediocre Men. That's on Twitter, Facebook, Mediocre Men. You can go plug us, follow us, watch us. We have good content. Memes over here. That's what Ryan's good at. I'm good at motivational stuff, giving you some good thumbnails for channels, stuff like that. Other than that, yeah, there you go. You get the best of both worlds. So if you're listening this far in, we're gonna be out for now. We'll be back also next Monday. We'll probably have some good topics then too. I feel like we dove into some good stuff that we can also just build upon too.
Yeah.
All right, so here's for that. Ryan, do you want to send us out?
Come back next week, guys.
All right, Mediocre Mondays, out.